Hi, I'm Dr. Anthony Claude. I'm a board certified psychiatrist. I'm reading through this book from Pope Shenouda. He's the 117th Pope of the Coptic Orthodox Church. It's called The Life of Repentance and Purity. In this book, he addresses some things about earthly punishments as a result of sin. Sin being something that mankind or a person is doing that's separating themselves from God. He made some interesting comments that relates to mental health, so I wanted to share that. So the quote says, earthly punishment as a natural result of sin. There are many sins that carry their punishment in themselves. The adulterer, for example, can be afflicted with weakness, anemia, or venereal diseases. Whoever takes drugs is afflicted by losing his personality and his temper. Whoever smokes is afflicted with cancer, lung disease, high blood pressure, or other diseases. The student who neglects his studies has a punishment on earth, which is failure. Whoever gambles is affected with poverty and need. The mother who does not raise her son properly will suffer doubly on earth as a result of the bad behavior of this son. So the adulterer is someone who is sexually promiscuous. Maybe they are having sexual relations outside of the marriage relationship. Maybe they're cheating on their partner. Maybe they have several different sexual partners. This can put them at risk for sexually transmitted diseases like gonorrhea, chlamydia, syphilis. It can also affect them emotionally and mentally as well, as they try and fill their emotional, physical, or mental needs with a partner who may not be able to satisfy those needs, or who may not be present to satisfy some of those needs. Whoever takes a drug is afflicted by losing his personality and his temper. Oftentimes we see this when people are intoxicated with alcohol or other drugs like methamphetamines, cocaine. They can get very angry, they can get impulsive. Even withdrawal of these substances can lead to mood swings and mental health instability. But also when people use these substances, it ends up being like a crutch that they go to cope with some of the challenges of life. They may cope to use these substances to have a social outing or feel better, or maybe to self-medicate to take away some of their pain or discomfort in life. And over time, it's going to negatively affect their personality than if they were doing something more healthy or constructive, whether it's like reading, arts and crafts, playing sports, something that's overall would be more constructive for their overall health and well-being. Furthermore, the people that are often doing drugs or these substances, they're often breaking the law. People who break the law will end up getting lost in like the wrong crowd, or a crowd of people who tend to be incarcerated or steal or lie or cheat. And so it almost like goes down this rabbit hole of having a difficult environment and upbringing. And a lot of times these people end up getting homeless due to their drug use. And so we'll talk a little bit later in this video, but Pope Shenouda suggests to stop even just the thought. If the thought is there, try to break it off as soon as possible, to not delve into that. He gives an example of smoking. Smoking can cause medical diseases, cancers, and the medical diseases listed above. And oftentimes people also use that to cope or manage with their stress or their anxiety or their mental health or well-being. But we see that it can have long-term consequences, even though it may seem to have short-term effects. Students who are failing in school, failure can be a sign of mental health instability or mental health problem. Oftentimes when someone is found to have a mental health problem, it significantly impacts their work or their school or their relationships. And so that may need to be addressed by a mental health clinician. He lists the example of a gambler that's in poverty and need, and this can be a little bit nuanced because sometimes someone suffering from a gambling disorder may be trying to quit from that disease, and maybe they're more living a life of repentance because they're trying to quit and do the good thing, than someone who knows that gambling is bad or they shouldn't do it and goes and gambles anyway. For instance, as mentioned, Pope Shenouda says the sin often starts with a thought, and if the thought is sort of entertained or dwelled on, it can lead to a feeling, and if that goes deeper, then that leads to actions, and these actions can sort of repeat over itself, and that can lead to the addiction or the disorder. So if you stop the pattern early on, anywhere along that continuum, that is like the goal, to stop it early at the thought so it doesn't proceed further down the road. But sometimes mental diseases like bipolar disorder, or people that are impulsive, or even side effects of some medications can lead to problems like gambling. And so maybe this needs to be just addressed with a clinician regardless. The role of the mother-child relationship can have a big impact on one's mental health and well-being, how they relate to people, how they relate to others. Not all the time do I think a mother should be held accountable for what their son is doing. Maybe they're doing something based on their own free will or choices. Maybe it does have something to do with the upbringing. But I think the spiritual principle here is that parents should aim to raise their children in the fear of God.